Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Would and should the U.S. actually commit U.S. troops to defend Taiwan if China were to move?
I think that this is such a, I think that this is of course a very long-standing policy of the United States, and I think what we are hoping for is that we want to make sure that we never get to that point, and we want to make sure that we are moving in all of our economic research and our global positions to avoid any such confrontation and for that question to even arise.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, a graduate of the Kamala Harris School of Word Salads. That is New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez at the Munich Security Summit, where she is trying to prove indeed that she has foreign policy credentials. We have another one from we have a few more, I think, from AOC, and also Gavin Newsom was over there, as well as Marco Rubio will be hearing it. Welcome, my friends, to the Valentine's Day edition of the Saturday morning extravaganza. Your Saturday morning vibe. Have a cup of coffee, maybe a chocolate with us, or whatever suits your fancy on this Valentine's Day 2026. Indeed, a happy Valentine's Day to all. The government, your government, is shut down partially. I'm sure that it is impacting you already. The Department of Homeland Security ran out of money last night. Democrats left town. They are demanding that ICE agents and others working to secure this nation's law enforcement stance be unmasked, that they be subject to attacks, the kind of attacks that happened last night in Los Angeles, yesterday in Los Angeles. For those of you that don't know about that, let me get phone numbers first. 800-848-9222 is how you reach us. 800-848-9222. Coming up on today's program, Princess Diana will be with us. Looking forward to that. Also, America's small caffeinated mom, Rhonda Schrock, will join us later in the program. We have an announcement about Lizzie. Lizzie has taken on another assignment with Red Apple Audio Networks, and that new assignment for Lizzie, we congratulate her, requires that she will no longer be here during the early morning hours. Her hours have changed. She sent me a beautiful note yesterday, and I responded, of course, just telling her how much we all love her and congratulate her on her new assignment. So I think in the second hour, what we will be doing, for the foreseeable future, we don't know just yet. We're figuring out, but it's a great time for us to delve into some of the sound bites that I never get to. So we are considering doing that for today's program, and we'll make a decision as we go on. You know, this is radio. We do it. We figure out new things and figure out what works, what doesn't work in terms of what you like, hopefully, and what you find of interest. So, now, 3 federal agents yesterday were injured with a clash of protesters in downtown Los Angeles. How did this happen? It happened because scores of students walked out of their classes to protest Donald Trump's immigration policies. Between 200 and 300 students, I think we're talking high school students here or others, they went outside the Immigration and Custom Enforcement building. Students let out of school, students that you and I as taxpayers help support. Students walked out of school, decided they wanted to have a Friday protest, gathered in front of a federal building, and then some in the crowd began throwing objects at law enforcement. One officer was hit in the head, an ICE officer, with a rock. 2 Federal Protective Services officers were also injured. One hospitalized with a concussion, the other cut over the eye. So far, no arrest of these students has been made. Assaulting federal law enforcement is a felony, a federal crime. Anyone who assaults or obstructs law enforcement will be prosecuted. Secretary Ice Barbie said. Los Angeles Police Department previously said the protesters were fighting with federal agents on Alameda Street between Tempo and Aliso when agents were injured. The suspects accused of attacking the ICE agents then blended into the march. There should be, and I hope there is, video. You know, the same kind of way that they used to track down people after the J6 incident. All stops should be off. Everybody, every one of these students that skip school to go and protest should at least be identified. And the ones that assaulted agents should be found, prosecuted, put in jail with no bail. Well, okay. Meanwhile, the closed now because the Democrats have shut it down. The DHS, now part of the third government shutdown, the Democrat government shutdown because they don't like law being enforced. And by the way, the Democrats, this is exactly what they want. Can we just be honest about it? Or this is what many of us think they want would be a better way to put it. They want these confrontations. This is why they're demanding, no, we want to know who these ICE agents are. We all know that these ICE agents have been doxxed. We all know that their families have been threatened. We all know that many of them have been threatened. We saw what happened when ICE first went into Los Angeles, the riots in the streets, people even throwing boulders down onto the highway, the out-of-control riots. Why do Democrats insist that ICE agents have the ability to be recognized by their protesters? What is the obvious conclusion that we're supposed to draw? You see what's happening here. The obvious conclusion that many of us draw is that they want to intimidate ICE into stop enforcing the law. They figure if these ICE agents fear that their families are going to be doxxed, that their families are going to be assaulted by these same types of criminals, that they can get enough ICE agents to say, we're not going out there and dealing with this. They want illegal immigration at all cost. And so if it means that ICE agents' lives have to be threatened, if they have to be injured or hurt, the Democrats don't care. Their collateral is what many of us believe. They are just collateral damage. Imagine this. You, taxpayers, we pay our taxes to help support these public schools that in some cases, especially in Los Angeles, let's be frank, have been overrun with people that don't even belong inside the United States legally. And now they let these schools out, these kids decide we're going to go out and we're going to go become a little militia and attack ICE agents. And anything that you try to do with these states that have declared sanctuary and these cities, which is against the law, which should be against the law, anytime you say, okay, look, we're going to stop funding these cities, we're going to stop doing anything that you do as a government to try to take control back from these hateful leftists who don't want the laws of the land enforced, anything you do, you immediately run into roadblocks in the court system. And that is just something that is just unbelievable, because it seems that the decks are stacked against law enforcement. The decks are stacked against trying to enforce American laws. As for this shutdown, keep it shut. If they want to, here we go again. There's another article today in one of the mainstreams about the TSA agents and their plight. The TSA agents didn't ask for this, and here they go again being up. Yeah. This is what Democrats do, shut down the government again. And yes, the TSA agents will be affected. FEMA will be affected by all of this. One thing that I would do is, if you guys are going to shut down TSA, I would make sure that this time Democrats feel it. Feel it. You know, spring break is coming. And in spring break, you can use algorithms to figure out where the spring break crowd usually goes. If TSA has to shut down because Democrats don't want to fund it, make sure that if we're going to close down portions of the United States air traffic, that their air traffic, as much as possible, does not affect people who are actually productive and trying to make the country work. Let's start with making sure if we have to stop flights, make sure that those spring break flights are first on the list. Start there. As for FEMA, I don't know how despicable Democrats can be to actually shut down the people, the first responders to natural disasters and others. What has to be in your heart to do that? They're not affecting ICE. ICE is budgeted, thank you, the big beautiful bill, for the rest of the year. So their fury at ICE is not even going to be a central issue with this shutdown. ICE is still funded. They're hurting other aspects of the federal workforce in order to prove a point. And I would suggest that this administration just stand firm. I don't care. If this is what they want, let them bear the brunt of it. Keep it, no deals with these, I don't want to call them what I want to call them. No deals. No, you're not going to learn the identity of ICE agents so that you can harm them. No, you're not going to stop the enforcement of law. No, you won't. Tell the Democrats to go pound sand on their latest demands.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. James Golden Show. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Welcome to your Saturday Morning Vibe. The Saturday Extravaganza. 800-848-9222 is the number to reach us. We are going to start taking calls soon. I want to go through a few other things. This will tick off some of you lefties. And I say that with all due respect. You know, my friends on the left, some of them listen here, some of them call here, and we love you. And we love you. And yeah. But this is going to tick some of you off. The Homeland Security, after I guess they get through being shut down by the Democrats so that ICE agents can be attacked, is their hope. Homeland Security wants social media sites to expose anti-ICE accounts. Say what? That's right. Department of Homeland Security is expanding efforts to identify Americans. They don't have to be just Americans, by the way, who oppose immigration and customs enforcement by sending tech companies legal requests for the names, email addresses, telephone numbers, and other identifying data behind social media accounts that track or criticize the agency. So, all of a sudden, DHS, let's just break this down, they want to dox these people who are out trying to interfere with law enforcement. And now, watch the reaction from liberals when this happens. They are going to whine and moan and complain. You just know it. About government intrusion. How dare they? How dare they want to dox these innocent people who are just out there trying to interfere with law enforcement? How dare they? This will be called Big Brother on steroids. It will be called every name that Democrats, liberals, progressives, socialists, communists, Marxists, and the like can figure out. And that's it. They're sending these subpoenas, by the way. Google, Reddit, Discord, Meta, Facebook, Instagram, all of it. Delicious. 800-848-9222. 800-848-9222. How you reach us on the Saturday morning extravaganza, your Saturday morning vibe. Whatever you do, keep it right here. Do not go away.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
That the United States is very much in a compromised position compared to where we were 5 years ago. Our relationships with our allies are strained. Our commitment and demonstrated consistency on democratic values, human rights, also incredibly strained. And our domestic situation, I think, is reflecting globally as well, particularly economically. Skyrocketing inflation, tariffs, of course, have hurt Americans, and it has hurt and had a negative impact on the United States globally as well.
Ambassador.
James Golden Snerdley with you here. Saturday morning vibe. Let's head to the telephones. Jay in Southampton, New York. Welcome. How are you this morning, Jay?
Good morning, James. Thank you for taking my call. I really appreciate it, and it's a privilege to speak to you.
Thank you.
Real quick, I've been in law enforcement for about 26 years, and I've looked at some of the things that the Democrats are asking for ICE, and I don't agree with the mask removal. I happen to agree with the fact of wearing body cams. Now, when I started in law enforcement, we didn't have body cams. It was a whole different world. But we've seen since the implementation of body cams that actually officer complaints for misconduct or things go down because the camera actually validates the actions of the officer and shows the actions of the interaction that are actually documented.
I could not agree with you more. I'm in a way, I wish that there were more body cams for more of the ICE agents that were available earlier, because I think some of this business that has gone through people using edited clips from their phone or catching an event midway and then framing it the way they want to I think a lot of that could have been dispelled with body cams. I think body cams are great. And by the way, I just want to get your reaction to this too. You're in law enforcement. 2 ICE officers have been suspended because of an incident in Minneapolis. They may have lied under oath. That's what is being alleged. A recent review of video evidence, which goes right to your point, reveal that the officers appear to have made untruthful statements in sworn testimony given in part of a case of two men that were charged, including a shooting victim. And so the charges against the guy were dismissed, and now these two officers have been suspended. That is the right thing that happens, right? And I'm sure as a law enforcement person yourself, you don't want to see abuses, or you don't, and I separate abuses from things that happen where there's a dispute about them, but the officers are acting with the best intent and everything else. That's a different case. I'm talking about real abuses. And what is your position as a person that has been in law enforcement about these sorts of incidents?
I think that any incidents of untruthfulness or deception by law enforcement is a stain on every officer that's ever worn a shield. It is absolutely horrible. We are given the public trust. We are actually given immense power out there that has to be tempered with the pursuit of justice. I mean, we are not we're enforcers of the law. We just bring the people to go to the judiciary to answer for the alleged offenses. And we have to serve the public with honor, and we have to uphold the highest moral value and have the greatest moral compass to serve the public trust. And any breach of that should be met with harsh repercussions for people that can't handle that.
And do you believe that most of your fellow law enforcement officers think the same way you do?
100%. I can tell you that every officer I've ever served with in my 26-year career have been noble people. We're out here doing a job. We're here to serve the public. We are here to make sure the public are able to enjoy their liberties. It's as ironic as it may seem, it's a job, just like someone goes to their job on Wall Street. My job is to come out here and enforce the law with no prejudice in the interest of the public to ensure public safety. That's my job. I don't do it with passion. I don't do it with prejudice. I don't do it with any personal agenda. I'm a neutral party. I'm only there to have people answer for their actions.
Let me ask you about that, and I'm not asking you because I disbelieve what you're saying, but I do want to ask you some questions about that. When you say you can do this job with no prejudice, right? How is that possible? Here, and let me give you an example. People in law enforcement like yourself, you see the worst of the worst of the worst on a daily basis. You see things in detail that most of us never see, but we read about, but you actually see it. You see what happens when people are treated in the most horrible fashions imaginable by other human beings. So for the people that for the officers that work, let's say in crime-ridden communities, how is it possible to maintain a sense of objectivity when what you're seeing is the worst every day, and you're also seeing the people that commit the worst of the worst every day? How do you maintain a level of objectivity?
So it's very difficult. It's seeing people that constantly lie to you. How I do it is I treat every situation as a unique situation. I try to leave the emotional baggage at home. I try to have a good work-life balance, which most officers have a hard time doing. But again, I look at it as it's a job. Well, it's more of a calling, excuse me. I take the honor of putting on my uniform every day as a very deep honor. And I treat everybody with empathy, and I try to make sure I'm tactically sound with my officers when I'm working. And I always try and keep a 1,000-mile view of the overview of the situation so I don't become personally involved. When we see officers getting personally involved or invoking personal emotions, that's when we can see a reaction that would be inconsistent with policy. So I think if officers just remain in almost like a professional detachment, we're not personally involved. Yes, we see horrible things, But at the end of the day, whether I'm performing CPR on an individual that's down, or if I'm initiating a traffic stop that goes sideways, it's business. I can't let it get personal. If I find myself getting amped up, we have mechanisms in the organization that the officer will say, hey, you know what, you're getting a little too amped up here, step back. And we'll let another officer come in. You'll get a cooling off period, and then you'll continue. And to illustrate that point is, in my career, I've had over 650 arrests. I've had 2 uses of force.
Whoa.
That's where it comes down, that I treat everybody as a individual. Even if, they've committed a crime, it doesn't take the human element away. They're going to answer in the judiciary for me, not for me. I'm not there to dole out punishment.
When you, this is profound, what you just said. Let me ask you this. What is the scariest situation that you've ever faced out in the streets? You said you've had your arrest, over 650 arrests. What is the scariest situation that you ever faced?
Well, which way are you going? Are you talking with personal danger, that there would be a criminal element, or entering a burning building to go get somebody?
Oh, man. And you've had to enter a burning building?
Yes.
Do you hesitate? Do you say, this, maybe I'm going to get killed if I do this? What happens when you're confronted with that?
Well, I can tell you in my instance, when I was driving my patrol vehicle, I saw smoke coming out of a residence, and it really didn't. I saw that there was a vehicle in the driveway, and I had to make entry through the back of the building. The building was actually completely charged with smoke, and you really didn't think about it. You went inside. You had somebody in there. You thought you had somebody in there, and we were able to get an older female from her second floor of her bedroom where she was, and she had her door closed.
She would have died if you hadn't been on the scene.
Maybe.
Most likely. Okay. That's amazing. I thank you for sharing so much. When you see ICE agents and these ICE agents under attack the way they are, what goes through your mind?
I'm actually deeply concerned with the state of the country. We are, they're my brothers and sisters in blue. We all do a very dangerous job. We try to do it to the highest level of public trust, and seeing the public turn on us and see how dangerous it becomes because they escalate situations that don't need to be escalated. I think that's very distressing.
You see any way out?
Well, when I was in the academy, the instructors used to tell us, just don't take it personal. And the time for argument isn't on the street. It's in the courtroom. If you don't agree with what the law enforcement officer is doing to you, comply at that time and have a payday. That's why we have lawyers. That's why we have a court system. If an officer takes an incorrect action on the street, the time to argue is not on the street when that arrest is being effected. It's in the courtroom, and you let an attorney handle it.
Boom. Jay, what a great, thank you for spending so much time with us and speaking so plainly about your life as a law enforcement officer. And for many of us, we hold what you do in awe. I could not do what you do. I couldn't do it. The people that do this for a living and that do this to put your own lives at risk to help other people, you are a special lot in life. And you guys deserve, and women deserve, nothing but praise instead of the vitriol that you get from so many corners in this society. And thank you so much.
It has been my absolute honor, and I just want to remind people out there, our law enforcement officers are just ordinary people doing extraordinary things on a daily basis, and it has truly been my honor to speak with you, and thank you very much for your support.
Thank you. That's Jay from Southampton, New York, ladies and gentlemen.
The James Golding Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golding Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Snerdley with you here. Let's go to Chris in the Catskills. Good morning, Chris. How are you?
Good morning, James. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
I was trying to get you off a speaker. So I just wanted to touch real quick. Lieutenant Governor Antonio Delgado dropped out of the Democratic Party primary for the governor's race in New York State. And Kathy Hochul is up in the polls by so much that I see her winning by 20 points in November. It's just the out-migration patterns that has caused a overall shift in New York State with demographics. It's going to be somewhere in between Molinaro and what Lee Zeldin did 4 years ago. It's going to be somewhere in between that, somewhere in between 8 points and like 28 points. I'm thinking it's going to be around 20.
Good Lord. I was sad to see Elise. I was sad to see when Elise dropped out. I was very sad to see. I thought Elise would have been the best pick for the Republicans to go up against Kathy Hochul. Your thoughts on that?
I just don't listen. It's tough to go up against the establishment. Hochul held the Grieving Families Act 4 times in 3 years, so I'm not a fan of hers. When I actually met her when I was in office, when she was lieutenant governor, and I was actually very impressed with her at the time. But I have questions about somebody that goes from telling, statements to the media that if undocumented immigrants apply for driver's licenses in Erie County when she's the county clerk, that she's going to contact local law enforcement. That was her statement 18, 19 years ago, and then she's morphed into what she is now. And I guess it's possible for people to do that in politics, but I always have reservations about, people that are registered with a...
Let me, I'm sorry to cut you off, but time is short. I want to get the answer to this. Let me just ask you this. Is Kathy Hochul good for New York?
I'm thinking of somebody to write in, okay, or leave it blank. But, hey, real quick, I wanted to say Chris Moore, the longtime talk radio host, and he's been involved in documentary films with PBS in Pittsburgh, KDKA Radio. He is retiring. His last talk radio program on Sundays from 5 to 9, KDKA out of Pittsburgh.
Come on, man, you're on this program, giving this network, giving a shout out to somebody else. Don't do that. We got to keep listeners here. That's not nice. Although, congratulations to him.
He's another host of color, Bo.
Well, that's okay. This is a competitive business. Thank you. Listen, I want to know, is Kathy Hochul good for New York? Come on, just say it. Is she good for New York State?
Anybody that vetoes the Grieving Families Act 4 times is not somebody that is in, that has earned my vote. Okay.
So let me just try to put that in language that we can all understand. Question to Chris. Catskills in New York. Is Kathy Hochul good for New York? Answer, after we get through everything, no. I agree with you. Poor New York. You got Mamdani in the lower part, and then you got Kathy Hochul. I hope that before November something can change in New York. Chris, always a pleasure to speak with you. Hour number uno in the can. Hour number duo coming up. The Saturday morning extravaganza continues. If you would like to be on the phones with us, 800-848-9222 is how you reach us. We have got a lot more to go. Hour number duo coming up. Saturday morning extravaganza. Whatever you do, don't go away. Make sure you keep it right here with us.
The James Golding Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golding Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The process is the punishment with them. And like all of you here in Minnesota, the great people of Minnesota, I will not be intimidated. I will not back down. I will fight these baseless charges, and I will not be silent.
Yeah, Don Lemon outside of the courtroom after arraignment, pleading not guilty for the church invasion that took place in Minnesota. Also outside of that courtroom was one of the other 5 so far that have been arrested, the protester William Kelly, who was yelling and screaming at parishioners inside the church. In fact, we have the Fox News report on it. I think they have Kelly's voice in that one. Cut 2, Matt. Let's welcome our number duo, Bo Snerdley here with you. The Saturday morning extravaganza, your Saturday morning vibe. Let's join that cut 2, which took place in the day of. Let's hear it.
Hi, Martha. All 5 defendants pleading not guilty today at the federal courthouse, a judge giving them standard release conditions. Meanwhile, the former CNN anchor Don Lemon, he was first to see that judge. We learned that his phone was confiscated during this, and his attorneys argued for it back. But prosecutors say that his phone right now, it's in the custody of DHS. They say they have a search warrant, and that search process is just not complete. Now, all 5 defendants are charged with federal civil rights crimes, accused of conspiring to interfere with the rights of worshipers. Last month, a group of anti-ICE agitators stormed a church in St. Paul, disrupting services because one of the pastors works for ICE.
As you can see, all these pretend Christians, all these comfortable white people who are living lavish, comfortable lives while children are dragged into concentration camps.
Nonsense.
And churchgoers say that there were children there terrified by the agitators who stormed in and were shouting at them.
There were several children that I noticed who started crying pretty much immediately because, it was just such a sudden and just loud, kind of like as if a firework had gone off and a child starts crying. Not necessarily because they know what's happening, but because it's just so startling.
And after their court appearances, we just got this statement from the head pastor at the church. He shared, quote, "Peace was shattered. A group of agitators disrupted our service, accosted our members, and terrified our children. It was wrong and it was shameful," he said, Martha.
Yeah. And by the way, just keep in mind of what has happened in churches, the Ascension Church. The people did not know in real time what was happening, whether they might be under the midst of an attack that would lead to the loss of life, including these children. In some cases, parents were prevented from getting to their children. Now, the guy that was inside telling people that they're a bunch of white Christians that live in the lap of luxury and therefore they deserved all of this stuff, William Kelly also spoke afterwards. That's cut 4. And here is this agitator that was involved in cut 4 in the invasion of a worship service.
My name is William Kelly. I'm a combat veteran. I'm a patriot. I'm a lover of the Constitution. I'm an ally to my Black, Latino, and indigenous people. I will not stand here and be intimidated by Pam Bondi on her persecution of these patriots, of these freedom fighters, of these journalists who are brave enough to document what we're doing in this city. What is happening in Minnesota is a resistance against tyranny, a resistance against fascism, and the absurdity of us being right here, right now, the peaceful 9 being persecuted, while the murderers and the executioners of Alex Petty and Renee Good walk free, not only walk free, but are still working for the federal government. This is madness. It's time to wake up, Americans. It's time to get off your couches and stand with your brothers and sisters in solidarity. All power to all the people.
No power to all the people. Let's bring back the 1960s.
Look, Mr. Patriot invaded a church. And look, this is in court. This is where it belongs. these people are just unbelievable with their self-righteous arrogance. Unbelievable. And that includes Don Lemon. Now, the drag about, ICE is getting out of, is getting out. Metro surge, the operation is ending. So the numbers are going to be reduced. Mayor Jacob Fry cut 6. Mayor Jacob Fry had some remarks to say about the operation ending. This is the mayor of Minneapolis.
Thank you. I wanted to say this isn't just about me. This is about all journalists, especially here in the United States. That's Don Lemon. I'd like to thank everyone again for their support.
That's Don Lemon. That's not who I wanted. That was I'm looking for Jacob Fry. Well, we have another Jacob Fry, cut 37. And this is unbelievable gall on the part of Mayor Jacob Fry. Listen, they want, folks, I'm still stunned at this. They actually want compensation. Here's Mayor Jacob Fry.
Governor Walz was talking about that as well, and he said he wants federal compensation because of what happened in Minnesota. Right. He said you don't get to break things and then just leave without doing something about it. Do you agree with that there should be federal compensation?
I do. To give you an idea of the damage that we have collectively experienced, this has indeed been catastrophic. Now be clear, we're not victims here. We are tough. We've got the kind of grit in Minneapolis that I think is admirable. We're going to make an extraordinary comeback. And of course, we have to acknowledge the impact on people, on children, on small and local businesses, on our economy.
So he wants compensation. Tim Walz, who the question was, do you agree with Tim Walz? Well, Tim Walz was the one that first offered this idea that somehow the state of Minnesota should be compensated for ICE coming. The state of Minnesota and the city of Minneapolis should be compensated. This cut 29 is Tim Walz proffering the idea that his state should be compensated.
We are cautiously optimistic, as we've said, and that this surge of untrained, aggressive federal agents are going to leave Minnesota. And I guess they'll go wherever they're going to go. But the fact of the matter is, they left us with deep damage, generational trauma. They left us with economic ruin in some cases. They left us with many unanswered questions. Where are our children? Where and what is the process of the investigation into those that were responsible for the deaths of Renee and Alex? So while the federal government may move on to whatever next thing they want to do, the state of Minnesota and our administration is unwaveringly focused on the recovery of what they did. And there will be many steps in this process, many answers that we still need to get and will pursue. But as we started earlier this week, one of the first things we can do, and what we're focusing on today, is what can we start doing on the economic recovery, the damage that has been done to our economy, specifically to small business owners, and even more specifically to immigrant small business owners, which for every other administration and for most of our history is the epitome of the American dream. Come to this country with nothing and build something to be proud of, build something that creates jobs, build something that creates this incredible diversity and a food scene across this state that is second to none, to entrepreneurship, to the work that they've done. Meeting a few weeks ago down at the Hmong Market, and a gentleman who came here and got a food stall, and 3 of his children are now medical doctors that went through American universities to become medical doctors to help make this state the best for health care. Those are stories we should be celebrating, not dangerous police chases through peaceful neighborhoods, not little boys in little backpacks being hauled away, and not mourning of parents and family for American and Minnesota citizens being killed on the streets.
Well, I don't even know where to begin with this except to say this. You want compensation, you have a lot of nerve. The idea that the rest of the country should use their tax dollars to compensate you and your state and your officials for clearly illegal behavior is absurd. It's absurd. The damage to the economy. And you heard him talking about 4 immigrants. So now we're not only supposed to keep illegal immigrants here, people that should have never been in the country in the first place, but now, because some of the businesses suffered because illegal immigrants have been taken out, now we're supposed to compensate them and pay money for illegal immigrants. This is the Democrat philosophy. Let's pay the illegal immigrants who broke our laws to stay here. This is madness. It is absolute madness. Every American taxpayer ought to be severely offended by this line of thought. Now to this other incident that they all keep raising, and now the narrative is spread. You hear the questions come up. The murder of Alex Preddy, the murder of Renee Good. I do not and will never celebrate, feel good about, or anything else the fact that these 2 people lost their lives. It is unbelievable to me that you can defend someone getting in the way and looking like she's going to run over an ICE agent, and tragically she lost her life. She brought this upon herself. All she had to do was stop the vehicle, as demanded, get out of the vehicle, as the officer said she would be alive. I don't know about the Alex Preddy thing. I've had some questions on that still remain resolved. But one thing for sure, he intentionally was trying to interfere with ICE operations. When you put yourself in harm's way and then you are harmed, you have to take responsibility for your own actions as well. Now, if there was misconduct with that, it should be prosecuted. But if it is found that there was no misconduct in it, that he is responsible for his actions that put him in harm's way, so be it. It is sad. No one wants to see this happen. But when you have governors and mayors like Waltz, like this guy Frey, suggesting that it's okay for people to go out in the streets and assault, track down, interfere with law enforcement operations to protect illegal immigrant communities because that's the Democrat Party base, to obtain political seats that suppress the votes of other Americans? No. And it's absurd to think that we as the United States should actually pay them compensation for enforcing American law. It's absurd. James Golden, Snerdley, Saturday morning. We have more, but we also have some phone calls, so we're going to get to all of it. We didn't even get to our social media folks yet, and we're going to do that too.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Teddy from Yonkers is on the phone. Good morning, Teddy. How are you?
Good morning, Bo. I'm okay. The only thing that you and I agree on is our love for Motown, the Temptations, the Four Tops, the Supremes, Marvin Gaye, etc. Okay? Bo, the difference between us basically is this. I criticize the Democrats. I criticize the far left, which I despise. I criticize our socialist, communist mayor of New York City. And I criticize the right. President Trump, I shouldn't even call him president. I call him Trump. Trump is he's the head honcho. The buck stops with him. He didn't apologize. He has to apologize to the Obamas. Well, you know it's wrong. You know you said that. Thank God. Mm-hmm. But he never apologized. But that's how he is throughout his whole life. And I'm so glad that Mark Kelly and the others were found not to be charged by...
Oh, you mean the Sedition Six? You're talking about the Sedition Six?
That's a lot of bullshizzle. Okay? That's a lot of bullshit. Okay? And Pam Bondi acted like a spoiled brat in the classroom that I experienced in my career. Okay?
Hey, you saw the hearings, right? Did you see the Pam Bondi hearings? Can I ask you a question?
Despicable.
How was it? How was it different than any of the other hearings that have happened in Congress for the last 20 years, 30 years?
Well, it's bad.
Okay, so you've seen the hearings. No, seriously. You see the hearings where Democrats do the same thing that Bondi did, right? You've seen them, right?
I haven't watched every hearing. All I know is...
Well, I didn't watch every one, but you've seen the hearings where Democrats do the same thing, right?
What, Democrat witnesses you're talking about?
No. Oh, Teddy. Hang on, Teddy. Don't go away. Keep Teddy on, because I got to run through this with him, okay? We'll be back, folks. James Golden Snerdley. Whatever you do, keep it right here. Saturday morning extravaganza, your Saturday morning vibe. 800-848-9222. Stay with us. We will continue, and we will continue with Teddy. Keep it right here.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
All right, Teddy is with us. And, Teddy, we have a little bit longer. We're not pressured by time. Now, you mentioned the hearings, Teddy, and apparently you were very offended by Pam Bondi at the hearings?
Oh, come on. Why can't you call it like it is? Okay? Regardless of who testifies, she wanted to run the show. It's like the prisoners are running the prison, and the wardens are the subsidiaries. Who's running the school? The kids or the administration and the teachers? Okay, why don't you call it like it is?
I do call it like it is, Teddy.
Oh, stop it!
I do, Teddy. Teddy, calm down. Can I ask you a question, Teddy?
Go ahead.
Have you ever heard of the term being borked?
Being what?
Borked.
Borked?
Yeah, borked.
No.
B-O-R-K-E-D. Borked.
No,
you haven't heard of it?
No.
Do you remember a hearing over a Supreme Court nominee that never make it to the cut?
Yes. You're referring to the Justice Bork, who was a nominee for the Supreme Court and got turned down.
No, he didn't just get turned down, Teddy.
Well,
he got the hearings for Robert Bork. Thank you, by the way. And I'm going to give credit where credit's due. Princess Diana was listening to you and asked me to ask Teddy if he remembers the Bork hearings. And I said, oh my goodness, the Bork hearings. This man, distinguished jurist at the hearings, Ted Kennedy. You remember him, right? Senator Ted Kennedy, the one they used to call the Lion of the Senate. He of Chappaquiddick fame. You remember him, right?
Yes.
Don't sound so dejected. He's your hero, Ted Kennedy. He of Chappaquiddick fame. Married Joe Kopechne. In Robert Bork's America, there's no room at the end for blacks. No place in the Constitution for women. No, blah, blah, blah. He literally did a verbal assault and trashed this man's reputation beyond measure, and all of it was lies. Let me just ask you about another hearing. Do you remember what you remember Joe Biden, right?
Well, what did the Republicans do about Garland? They didn't
Hold on a second. Hold on. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. They saved America by not putting him on the Supreme Court.
Bo.
Wait a minute, but let me ask you another one. You remember who Joe Biden was, right? Okay. Do you remember back then when we had happened to be a black man of color, and he was nominated for the Supreme Court? Distinguished record. And do you remember that Joe Biden held a high-tech lynching so that he could lynch this man? And then they dragged out this woman that said, oh, yeah, he put a pubic hair on my Coke can. And this woman happened to follow him around from job to job to job to job to job. But then, not only did she follow him around as his employee on numerous occasions, then when they thought they could use it, remember that whole business? He put a pubic hair on my Coke can, and that became the story. Do you remember anything about that hearing?
I remember the hearing. I remember the hearing. The
high-tech lynching of Clarence Thomas, who survived his high-tech lynching at the hands of Democrats.
That's what Thomas referred to it as a.
That's what it was.
Lynching.
Joe Biden, who used to talk about he didn't want his kids going to the jungle schools. Remember that? I'm sorry. Do you remember that, Teddy?
Yes.
And Joe Biden did Biden ever apologize for saying he didn't want his kids going to those jungle schools, by the way?
Bo, I don't remember.
No, did he apologize, Teddy?
I don't know.
He didn't, because that's just as offensive as anything else. I don't want my kids going to them jungle schools.
Hey, Bo, two wrongs don't make a right.
You're right, but I'm just asking you if you remember, because your memory is good with certain things. Do you remember when your Democrat friends made Judge Alito's wife cry at the hearings? They tried to damage his sterling reputation so hard. The woman couldn't take it and just broke down crying at their horrible attacks. Do you remember what they did to Justice Kavanaugh? Pulling out all this nonsense about him. Why do you say
it was nonsense? Why do you say
because
it was
nonsense?
The woman came and testified. The woman witnessed. Why do you say it's nonsense? That's
you can get anybody to testify at a Democrat hearing. All you got to do is, do you remember? Can I quote James Carville? You know James Carville. Can I quote James Carville?
I like James Carville.
Okay, I'll quote James Carville. All you got to do is wave $100 around a trailer park.
Oh, Bo, it's called heads, Republicans win, tails, Democrats lose. That's how you are, Bo.
No, it's not. No, I'm not.
100% on the right.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I disagree with the right on so many things. And you heard me wait a minute. You heard me last week when this whole business came up with that horrible meme. You heard me. And you acknowledge you heard me. I don't agree with the right on everything. I don't agree with the right on a lot of things. I think the right.
Why don't you say that Trump is the head man and he should apologize to the Obamas? Why can't
I said that an apology was warranted. I said I don't expect it, but there should be an apology. I said it.
Why don't you expect it, Bo?
Because I don't. I don't also expect the Democrats to ever really show that they love America and stop trying to attack America's law enforcement. I don't expect Democrats to be honest about the reasons that they support criminals. I don't expect Democrats to apologize for what they've done to America and continue to do on a daily basis, because I'm a realist.
This country, hey, Bo, I'm going to make a bet with you right now.
Yes.
In November, the Democrats will 100% reclaim the House of Representatives. And that doesn't mean that I like all of the Democrats' ideas. I don't.
Let's wait till closer. Let's wait till closer, and you'll see what happens on that. By the way, have you ever heard of this woman named Maggie Williams?
Maggie Williams? No, I haven't.
Maggie was Hillary Clinton, another one of her chief of staff. Do you know when all this craziness began with congressional hearings? It started back when the Clintons were in office. They sent Maggie Williams in to testify about something. And Maggie Williams, black gal, sat up there and lit the Republicans' behinds on fire. Every time they tried to come after, she insulted them. She called them all kind of names. She told them pretty much to kiss her derriere in so many words and whatever. And many of us that watch hearings all the time were shocked. We were like, are you kidding? She did that at a congressional hearing? And that, Teddy, is when it began. And I'm not making it up. Go look. After that, Republicans didn't know what to do because they couldn't say anything else. She's a black woman. My goodness, if we speak to her in the wrong way, we're going to be called racist. They're going to call you racist anyway. Shouldn't have mattered. But they were scared S-less. They were scared to death. They didn't know how to handle it. Were you there, by the way? Did you watch the hearings when FBI Director, Democrat Christopher Wray told him that he had to go and screw their hearings? He had to leave. He had pressing business. Do you remember that hearing?
I know he testified, but I don't recall the exact time.
Well, here's what happened. He was testifying, and he just pretty much said, look, time's up. I got to get out of here. Do you know where he had to go? He took his private plane and went on vacation. Told them screw their hearings. You remember that?
Not until you told me.
Oh, do you remember how Democrats have disrupted with their code pink antics and started making so much grief in congressional hearings that they've turned them into a circus? Have you ever seen those hearings?
Behavior that is not right at hearings should be condemned for both sides.
Now, Teddy, you said you and I don't agree on anything. Hold it. You said you and I don't agree on anything. Teddy, you and I agree on that. Behavior that does not meet the decorum that is expected of Congress people, of witnesses, of administration officials, should on both sides be verboten. It shouldn't happen. The witnesses, the Congress people, those people that are tasked with oversight should be allowed to conduct oversight, and the witnesses that are called should treat hearings with the respect that our congressional hearings deserve. Do we agree on that, Teddy?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so then would you be willing to retract your statement that I only agree with things that are just for the right?
I agree with that statement that you just made.
Would you retract? Will you now retract your earlier statement?
I'll make an addendum to it.
Okay. Let's hear it.
Okay. Bo Snerdley has agreed with Teddy that the hearings and witnesses should conduct themselves in a proper way and not act like a teenager in school being a brat.
Will Teddy agree with Bo Snerdley, with James Golden, that Democrats are just the worst when it comes to these hearings?
Democrats are just the worst?
Yes.
No.
Oh. Darn it, I thought we had finally reached a place of love and happiness together, but no. I do love you anyway, Teddy. Happy Valentine's Day. I hope you have a great one.
You too. Bye.
All right. My man, that's Teddy.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. James Golden Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Let us hit some of our other. We already talked some policy with the sound bites. Let us hear, ladies and gentlemen, from some of the people on social media. Let's listen to a black American who wants to talk about Chuck Schumer and the voter IDs. This is one of those last ones I sent you. What did we say? It was 42, 43, 40. Cut 44. And this is this gentleman from social media.
So is it me or is the whole voter ID conversation stupid? Chuck Schumer last week said that voter ID is Jim Crow 2.0. So he's suggesting that it's racist. Now, being as though we live in a society where ID is required for so many different things, why is it only problematic or racist in regards to voting? And why do black people keep allowing them to suggest that you're too dumb and too poor and too incapable and too stupid to go down to your local DMV and get an ID or a driver's license? So if voter ID is racist, then asking for ID at the bank has to be racist also. Because you need an ID to open a bank account. You need an ID to enroll your children in school and daycare. You need an ID when you get a new job. Employers ask for ID from new hires. You need an ID to sign up for welfare. You need an ID to get on a plane. You need ID to walk inside of a federal building. And it's a million other things that there are ID requirements for. Why is it that voting is the only thing? This is the only argument that they can make, is that voter ID is racist. That's how you know it's bull. If ID is racist, then get rid of ID across the board then. So if the goal is to secure our elections, right, one of the most basic, most common sense steps that you can take is to require ID when you go to vote. It's really that simple. And if you are an adult just walking around living life with no ID and have no ability to obtain one, you probably don't need to be voting anyway. I'm just saying, you probably don't need to be voting anyway. You need to get your life together. And if we're just being real, if we're just being honest, the reason that Democrats don't want ID is because they want illegal aliens to vote in our elections. That's why they opened the border. That's why they don't want them to leave the country. And that's why they don't want anybody having to present ID when they go into the voting booth.
See, kind of everybody kind of gets it. And yet the Democrats stand out with a straight face and tell you, oh, by the way, if you're a woman and you've been married, woe is you, because Republicans don't want you to vote. If you got married and you're a woman and you're registered to vote already, even though you may have changed your name, how does this stuff even compute with most people? I don't understand it. I don't understand it one bit. All right, let's look at the other side of that equation. Cut 17. This is an Asian woman. Her name is Lindy Lee, and this is her take on the ID argument.
And let me tell you, whipping out my passport and all my documentation to vote, it brings me such great pride to do that. It should be an act of patriotism. Following the law, making sure that our voting systems are subject to the highest levels of scrutiny. If people don't have faith in the voting system, everything else falls apart. So why can't we do this basic thing? You need a voter ID to buy beer, buy porn, get certain prescriptions, board a plane, pay for a plane ride. Why don't you need an ID to vote? It doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't make sense at all. She said you need an ID to get porn. I don't know, because I don't get porn. I've never. So I didn't know that. I didn't know you needed an ID to get porn. Some of you, I guess, are very familiar with that. Don't happen to be one of them. Very quickly, we have a Valentine's Day message. Well, not Valentine, but this is a good day to play it anyway, from Will Ferrell, the actor. I think he was in that. Anyways, quick. Cut 20. Make it quick, because we got to go. Second hour's almost gone.
Forget about the entertainment world. Isn't it just time? Isn't it just time for women to run the planet? I'm not just trying to placate you, I swear. But I don't know what else to do, because
women running the planet? I got news for this guy. They already do. Where's he been? We'll be back.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Welcome, my friends, to hour number trio of our Saturday morning extravaganza, your Saturday morning vibe on this Valentine's Day. I just got a text from the Countess of Conspiracy, And she said, she begs to differ with me, or begs to differ with Will Ferrell. Men run the world, hence all the issues. Nope. There's a quote that I want to make. I think I recited this quote to Princess Diana. I wonder if she remembers it. And then she wished me a happy VD. How shall I put this? I didn't know that VD was a happy experience. I don't know one way or the other, but at any rate, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to check in with our Princess of Policy.
Time for Radio Royalty with James Golden and America's Princess of Policy, Princess Di.
Her nessness, the goodness, the lightness, the analysisness, the beautifulness, especially on Valentine's Day-ness. And, ladies and gentlemen, she has the answer-ness to all of your problems. Ness. Princess Diana is here. Princess, let me ask you a question, Ness. What rules the world?
Women.
Thank you. And why is it that women rule the world, Princess Diana?
Well, because they control access to pleasure. This was something you explained to me many years ago, and so I'm simply quoting you.
Yes, I quoted it in a rather crude fashion, which we will not repeat here, but I like the way you framed it, because women control access to pleasure, and therefore women rule the world.
Well, happy Valentine's Day in that vein. I would like to change the subject now.
Yes, by all means, please do.
So James, can I just get to some of the good news of the week that I'm?
Please do.
Okay.
Please do.
All right.
You rule the world.
I had sent to you, just to change the subject, a CNN soundbite that I think needs. It's a question asked by a CNN anchor that was not answered very well by the Democrat guest. And so I would like to take it from there.
Well, let's listen to it, and then you take it.
Congressman, a little bit of breaking news. We just got new numbers on CPI. Inflation came in cooler than expected. We're going to actually have a report on this in just a minute, but just the headline is the inflation situation improved a little bit in January. And this comes on the heels of unemployment numbers, jobs numbers that were better than expected. The job situation improved a little bit. What do you think is behind these improvements, this positive direction on a few measurements in the economy?
I'm not quite sure.
So this is Representative Stephen Lynch from Massachusetts, a Democrat, and so he went into humana. I have no idea why there's such good news. And so I would like to answer the question the CNN anchor asked, and he said, what do you think is behind these improvements, this positive direction? And my answer is it's not what, it's who. Who I think and who we know is behind these economic improvements, this positive direction, is Donald J. Trump, President of the United States, who, in the wake of this good news, tweeted, the golden age of America is upon us. And I think we're seeing the beginning of it. I said it would take a year, and a year is up. And here we have it. On Thursday, we got word from the statistics that instead of the expected 65,000 jobs that were created in the month of January, it was 130,000 jobs, which stunned everybody. 79 out of the 80 experts were wrong. And so this was absolutely blew everybody's mind. And I wanted to explain it a little bit. The 130,000 job increase is a net increase. Actually, the private payrolls increased 172,000. How we get the 130,000 is also wonderful news. The 172,000 private payrolls, you have to subtract the lost government jobs. There were 42,000 fewer government jobs in the month of January. So that is subtracted from the 172,000, which is how you get net 130,000. So not only is the economy, the private economy, booming, we are also, thanks to Donald Trump, shrinking government. And so this number is representative, and Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, was explaining this is the entire reorientation of the American system from increase in government to reprivatizing the economy. This is huge because every single government job that we don't have to pay for is less money out of the taxpayers' pockets. So both of those numbers is super important. The other important number came on yesterday, that consumer prices rose 2.4% annually in January, which was less than expected, according to CNBC. Everything is unexpectedly. The experts are always surprised. But interestingly enough, the average hourly earnings are up month over month at 0.4%, 4.1% annually. This is the wages of the American people is up annually 4.1%. Inflation is up annually 2.4%, which means for the first time, wages are outpacing inflation. Now, nobody's explaining this. This is enormous. This is the first time this has happened since last time Trump was in office. That is the cost of living is going up slower than people's wages. And so that means that people are going to start feeling an ease in their lifestyle because they are going to be able, this is affordability, to use the Democrat word, but this means that the economy is outgrowing the shackles that were put on it by Joe Biden. And this is tremendous. So you have the wages up, you have unemployment down, it's down to 4.3%. You have the construction sector up 33,000 jobs, which is the result of a lot of the building of the new factories that are coming in. So you have an enormous rocketing of the economy now that is unbelievable. And let me read you a headline from ABC News from yesterday. Inflation cooled in January, dropping price increases to their lowest level in 9 months and defying fears of a tariff-induced hike in overall costs. The experts have been telling us since Trump came into the 2.0 in January that the tariffs were going to be a killer of the economy, that it was going to be a tax out of everyone's pockets, and it was a lie from the jump. And so we now have evidence that everything they told us, because we had the window of panic, they had the year before all of Trump's policies kicked in, where people were unsure. So they've been scaring people. Tariffs are terrible. Tariffs are bad. And they still are saying it. But I just would like to, if you can, play a soundbite that Trump put onto Truth Social, which was from a TikToker. And so he summed up the tariffs very well, if you have that.
Here it is.
Donald Trump just got the EU to offer to drop tariffs on all American products. Like literally 3 days of threatening the EU with tariffs. And Europe is now ready to drop all tariffs on U.S. products. Oh, and Vietnam's doing the same thing. They want to drop all tariffs on U.S. products. Oh, and so does India. You know, no more tariffs on the products we want to sell to the billion people that live in that country. Oh, yeah, and Israel getting rid of tariffs on U.S. products. And Japan. And South Korea. And Thailand. Oh, and 43 other nations. All offering Donald Trump 0% tariffs on U.S. products. He did all that in 5 days. 195 sovereign nations in the world, and more than a quarter of them are now offering zero tariffs on U.S. products just so they can continue to trade with us. And all because Donald Trump was willing to threaten them with tariffs. Like, do y'all understand the benefit that's going to have on the United States of America? The benefit that's going to have on American companies that want to sell products worldwide? And he did all of this while half the country was bitching about it. He did this while y'all were protesting, while you were attacking American companies and firebombing car dealerships. Like, I actually saw so many of you on X saying we should invoke the 25th Amendment, saying that we should remove him from office. And while you were doing all of that complaining, he now has agreements with more than 50 nations to not put a single tariff on our products, and is drawing up trade agreements that are beneficial to the United States. Liberals, I want you to understand that we are going to make this country great again. And if we got to drag you kicking and screaming to do it, we'll do that.
Beautiful.
Amen. Amen.
Now,
go ahead.
I have one that I want you to hear. It's 1 minute and 6 seconds, cut 30. Matt, this is Scott Jennings on CNN. It goes to a point that you were making earlier, Princess Di.
And look, what they did is not for short-term gain. It was for long-term reordering of the American economy. And if you talk to their people, Bessent and Hassett and the others, they believe what they did with the tariffs, what they did with the tax permanency and other tax cuts in the summer is going to lead to a boom in 2026. The January data suggests that they might be right, but there's other things going on here regarding what kind of jobs we have in America. One of the big things I looked at in the chart today was we have the lowest amount of federal government workforce since 1966. So you have private sector jobs going up, government jobs going down. That was the purpose of what they were doing, to grow the private sector and to shrink jobs. I've been working in Republican politics for 26 years. Every Republican I've ever worked for said they were going to shrink the government. Trump's the only one that ever did it. We literally have the smallest federal workforce since 66, and as a percentage of the overall workforce, the smallest on record. I want more private sector. I want less government. So if you're a Republican and you look at that, you're thinking, gosh, this guy's actually executing on what they always told us they were going to do.
How many other Republicans that you've worked?
Boom. There it is.
And that's the boom. Absolutely. And so the big picture, and you know, a lot of the people on our side, I think, get distracted and forget the enormous changes worldwide that Trump is doing. He is not only reordering the entire U.S. economy and reorienting it toward the private sector, which is Main Street, which is us. He's also reordering the entire global world order. And he's doing this despite global obstruction and global fighting from the left worldwide. This big picture of what is happening, we are starting to see the benefit, which is why Trump is predicting, the Dow just reached 50,000. Trump is predicting 100,000 Dow by the end of his term. And I think he's going to be right. And I think that it would help if our side started to get the excitement that is, you can start to feel it. And our side is always tempted to say, nothing is happening. What's the use? Because we are inundated by so many lies, and it's the fog of lies all around us. And it is hard for us to step back as if we are looking down on planet Earth instead of just from the media, and to step back and see the enormous and beneficial changes that are happening thanks to this president. And I think that the optimism is important that we hold on to, because that energy in the MAGA base is going to propel us forward for the rest of Trump's term.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Stay there, Princess Diana, please. James Golden Snerdley with you. It is your Saturday morning extravaganza, and we're coming back after a few brief words, ladies and gentlemen, with more.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Princess Diana, let me ask you a question. How has the Democrat shutdown of the government affected your life this day?
Well, not at all so far, but you never know. You know, How about you?
Well, I didn't feel anything the last time. It was just a newspaper article for me. I hope that if TSA, now I do feel bad for these federal employees that once again are being used as pawns by the Democrats. If the TSA has to go into what they did last time, having to start reduced flights and all that, I suggest that the first flights that get reduced are those that are taking people to spring break.
Very clever. I love it. Well, also for all the protesters that are being flown from place to place, paid for by leftist money, I think that's a good flight to cancel.
Exactly. Now, Princess Di, let's take a few calls when we get back. And you and I will so if you're on hold, stay on hold. Princess and I are going to take a few calls. And also I want to ask Princess really quickly when we get back about this voter ID thing, where you think that's headed. Because this could be a big week if Republicans actually stop playing around and do what they have to do to defeat Democrats. And if they don't understand the urgency of this, I don't know why not, especially with what Virginia is doing. Anyway, Princess Di is here. 800-848-9222 is how you reach us. If you're on hold, stay on hold. And we are coming right back. So don't go away.
The James Golding Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golding Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Let's head to the telephones. Princess Diana is here. Let's start in Yonkers, New York, with Jim. Jim, welcome. How are you?
Well, good morning, everyone. My question is, in recognition in the 70s when we went off the gold standard, I just don't have any idea why the price of gold is going through the roof, whether it's because of being hoarded. I just don't understand how all of a sudden we're getting this phenomenal price associated with gold and precious metals.
Okay, Princess Di, do you want to handle that?
Well, there are a lot of theories. I mean, one is the dollar is losing value, and also the value of silver has been skyrocketing. And a lot of the reason for precious metals is due to technology and then the need for a lot of these precious metals in chips, silver especially, and batteries. So there's a reason for resources that the more scarce a resource is, and more that it's wanted, the higher the price will be. I think that's part of it. And also the weakness of the dollar currently.
Well, I'll tell you what. Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, and I know that President Trump is opening up a lot of areas in the United States now for mining. Which we all know that we have a boatload of precious metals, and then soon gold is one of them. Do you think that may help bring the price down in the future?
Well, your guess is as good as mine, and
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to invite Tom Bond onto the weekday show. This is his world, the whole finance world. I'm going to put this. Matt, can you isolate this question and this segment, please, so we can play it back during the week? And then we're going to get an answer to this question, Jim. And I think Princess Diana's answer actually gives it to you. I will also say this. As typically what we have been told is that gold is a hedge against inflation, and people were worried about inflation. So my further question to add to your question, Jim, is okay, inflation looks like it's cooling. Why is gold, as you say, skyrocketing? This is a great question. I think Princess Diana answered part of it, and we're going to ask Tom Bond during the week what to weigh in on it as well. So thank you for the call. I really appreciate it. Let's move to Westchester County and check in with Rex. Rex, how are you?
Oh, very good, Bo and Lady Di. So glad to talk to you. The reason I'm calling, which I think has been long overlooked, is why Congress and Senate, the congressmen and senators, have a different level of insurance, health insurance, than the American people do.
I'm sorry.
Why don't... Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I can't help myself.
That to me would be the easiest thing to level the playing field.
Because do you really want to? You know the answer, don't you?
They want all the luxury of their high post in office.
Here's why. And correct me if I'm wrong. If you think I'm wrong, Princess Di, please. Because you and I and the rest of America are peasants. That's one reason. And they're not peasants. They are the masters. They are the feudal lords of our society, and we are their peasants. That's one reason. The other reason is that they rigged Obamacare so that the insurance companies would make billions, and return 80% of the donations insurance companies make get sent to the Democrat Party. So they also do it so that they can continue to profit as a political party from the suffering that American people have to do with the healthcare system. Am I wrong about this, Princess Di?
You are absolutely right. They are special people. They call themselves, public servants, but they rig the system, and they also have rules for themselves on investing when they can use insider information for their trades, which is why they go in as, hardly any net worth and come out millionaires, all of them.
Wow. There's short... That's the answer. Thank you. We're going to try to grab another quick one before we have to jet off here. Let's see. Paul has been waiting in New Rochelle. Paul, you're on with Princess Di. You're on with Snerdley. What's on your mind?
Oh, thank you, Bo. I just earlier you had done a piece on Minnesota, and the fellow Kelly keeps sprouting that he's a patriot and
that William Kelly protester. Yeah,
William Kelly, and basically he's using stolen valor. He was actually a clerk and was dishonorably discharged. So he never saw a battle, and he keeps spouting that. He's much like the governor of Minnesota.
Oh my goodness! Did not know that. Thank you. Did you know that, Princess Di?
Yes, I had read that, and it explains he's so unhinged that you can see why he would have been dishonorably discharged.
Wow. Crazy. Thank you for the call.
Mainstream media never brings it up.
Of course they don't. No surprise there. We got to run. Princess Di, thank you so much for joining with us today. As always, if you're on hold, we might be able to grab a few more calls. I'm not sure. We'll see how the timing goes. Princess Di, always such a pleasure and a delight.
It's so wonderful to speak with you, and happy Valentine's Day, Sir James.
And happy Valentine's Day to you, Princess Diana, America's princess. We love you.
Oh, love you.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And ladies and gentlemen, it is time to check in with our beautiful, wonderful, America's small caffeinated mom, Rhonda Schrock. Happy Valentine's Day, Rhonda.
Happy Valentine's Day, James. It's always just a privilege to speak to you, to hear you speaking in my ear, and to know that the country is listening. That gives me so much joy.
Oh, yeah. So, you have something for us today.
I do. Yes.
Yes, you do.
I do. Appropriate on Valentine's Day, I think. This week, as we were driving into work, we were going down a state highway, and I just looked out my window and I noticed where I was at. All winter, we have had a blanket of snow. We just have had so much of that. And the cornfields and the bean fields that are lying fallow right now, they just were covered with that beautiful blanket of white. There was a mist that was hovering just above the snow, and frost had come in the night, and all the branches were just hoary white. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. All around us on that state highway, there were semis rolling past us. American commerce was in full gear, and the men and women who shift those gears were hard at work. It was a lovely scene in so many ways. And it was a sight that brought comfort to my mind. There are times in this season of chaos and much division and dissension that you just want to throw your hands up in the air and head for the hills, so to speak. You know, a cabin with no internet and no news, it sounds like nirvana. If there's a library and a stocked fridge, you could almost go there. However, a mortgage and a job and other obligations keep us from doing that. So today, because I am so sick and tired of the hatred that is expressed daily for this country in which we live, I want to focus on the reasons why I love America so much. And it pains me that I can only scratch the surface. This is a flyover view of what my heart is for this beautiful country that we love. I made a little list. First of all, our country is beautiful. I mean, geographically, we have a wide variety of natural delights. I thought of the redwoods in California, the waterfalls in Oregon where my husband was born, the beautiful Multnomah Falls, Mount Hood, those beautiful mountains, and then Denver, Colorado, where my family and I had vacationed, 7 falls there, the beauty of Pikes Peak and all the natural beauty that state possesses. The Grand Canyon, I've not visited there, but I've seen pictures, and it is just stunning. It's just majestic. Of course, I grew up on the wheat fields of Kansas, where in the summer those fields are waving gold in the sun. It is its own kind of beauty. In Florida, there are those white, sandy beaches, and then the shores of the Atlantic from one coast to the other, James. It is a beautiful land. I love that about this country. I love the foundation on which America was built, the foundation that our founding fathers put down. It is like no other country in the world. And even though that foundation may have had some erosion, I will not focus on the negative today because the fundamentals are there. Freedom to worship, freedom to speak, freedom to pursue our dreams, freedom to defend ourselves, freedom to live our lives. This is why other people are wanting to come here. It is a gift and a blessing to live in this land. I thought about this too. I love America because of the opportunities that she holds for people who are willing to work hard. I think I've told you already that my father and his brother, well, all of my aunts and uncles, were raised Amish, and they went to a little one-room school. I'm not kidding, they did. And they graduated from the 8th grade, and most of them did not even go on to get high school diplomas. So my father and his brother built a thriving automotive repair business on their talent that they had developed, the skills they had practiced, the ambition that they had, no college degrees, no government handouts, just lots of hard work. And today, both of their sons are carrying that forward. Again, no college degrees, no government handouts, just the talent and the skills they have developed and their ambition. And it's very successful. That's what can happen here. My husband did go to college. He paid for his own college degree. And then he went to work building his business one account at a time. Very hard work. We sacrificed and did without for years. And now that has paid off, and we are living the American dream. What a privilege. And James, this is not white privilege. This is the privilege that is available to all people of any color and any race who have a dream and have the ambition and who want to work and sacrifice for years if they have to. This is the universal privilege that is available to all. I love that about this country. Probably one of our greatest resources is our people. As I was writing this week, I had a slideshow going through my mind of all the people in my world here that make America great, truly make this country great. Just ignore the delirious, ungrateful, hate-filled voices. I am swiping left on them at this time because in the real world where I live, there are so many common, faithful, solid American citizens who are just living their ordinary lives. They're raising their kids. They're going to work. They're going to church. They're paying their bills. They are helping each other. They aren't rioting in the streets. They aren't protesting. They aren't burning the American flag. And they aren't calling for the deaths of people who disagree. These are loving, kind, ordinary, common sense people of the earth. And they make this country work. I thought of the shopkeepers in our small town where we work. Mom and pop stores and ventures where people have had dreams and ideas, and they have moved to put them into reality, to make them become reality. The little ice cream shop down the street from us, the chocolate shop on the corner where they hand dip everything. So many people who have taken a chance, and it's paying off. The local police department, we know the chief by name. Our children graduated from high school together. They ran cross. We know these people, and they are keeping our town humming, and they're keeping our town safe. What a gift. What a gift to know these people. All the teachers, I thought about all the teachers that the Four Shrocks had as they went all through elementary, middle school, and high school. All these wonderful, professional, caring people who invested in the lives of our children and in the children of the community. And now our sons are out in the world making a difference in their respective industries. And those professionals, those teachers, had a part to play in that. What a gift. I thought of the old retired gentleman, a friend and mentor, actually, of my husband, who came out of retirement in the early days of our business. As my husband was building the business, I could not go to work for him at the office. We were still raising small children at the house, and I couldn't do it. He came out of retirement and worked for next to nothing just to help my husband get that business off the ground. He has such a big part to play in today's success because of that sacrificial support and because he and his wife prayed fervently for our business, James. Who gets that? What a gift that is. But those are the kinds of people that live in the town where we live and work. And they are the people that are the backbone of this beautiful country. This is what came to be. America is an idea that is greater than any man who has ever occupied the Oval Office or ever will. It is a privilege to live here, even though America has her ills and her diseases and her very big problems. It is still a gift to live here. I love what Ronald Reagan said in his final farewell address to this nation, and I quote, "I've spoken of the shining city all my political life, but I don't know if I ever quite communicated what I saw when I said it. In my mind, it was a tall, proud city built on rocks stronger than oceans, windswept, God-blessed, and teeming with people of all kinds living in harmony and peace. A city with free ports that hummed with commerce and creativity. And if there had to be city walls, the walls had doors, and the doors were open to anyone with the will and the heart to get here. That's how I saw it and see it still." Unquote. This is the America that I love, and I always will. God bless this America.
What a beautiful message for Valentine's Day. Where can people find your essay, Rhonda?
America the Beautiful and the Good is in the columnist section on thedailybs.com.
And where can people find you?
RhondaSchrock.com, SCHROCK.
Happy Valentine's Day, Rhonda. Thank you.
Happy Valentine's Day.
All right, folks, here we are, Valentine's Day on the Saturday Extravaganza.
Thanks for listening to The James Golden Show. You can hear The James Golden Show Saturday mornings at 7. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Rural Americans deserve access to the best of what our country has to offer, especially health care. Across every state, every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families healthy. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.